Right, so I think, yeah, we're recording now. Good. Okay. So before we start tonight, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you in this Holy Week that we can come together to chat about the ways that you talk with your children, the messages that you send while we're asleep, because sometimes we're just too plain busy to hear those messages any other time. Help us now to focus on you and to learn from you the things that you want to take us to take from tonight. But in this week, help us to focus on the cross and what the cross means. Help us to remember that as much as sometimes it pains us and we stress and we struggle with dreams, that actually Jesus paid the ultimate price. He gave up his life for us so that we can have the joy of knowing you and learning from you and understanding the dreams that you send to us. So we ask all of these things tonight in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Amen. Right, so little bits of news before we get going. So I think the big thing for this month is that the Dream House is really busy. I mean, really, really busy. So much so that the other day I interpreted one dream, pressed the send button to send it back to the dreamer, went to make myself a cup of tea, came back, and in the space of that time, 8 more dreams had come in. So, so yeah, it's a good busy, but it does mean I'm kind of limited to not being able to do much else at the minute. But hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. And if this is what God wants me to be concentrating on at the time, then this is what I'm concentrating on. So I would appreciate your prayers that I stay sane and that nobody gets stroppy, because it's taken me a little bit longer to get round to doing their dreams. But hey, God is good. So the other thing with that is that some people have been making quite good donations, which has enabled the Dream House to take up an offer that was being made to Streams teachers from Streams HQ in Dallas. So somewhere between Dallas and Dunfermline, there are 2 boxes of manuals for John Paul Jackson's course, Signs, Wonders, Miracles and Healings. And the idea is that we are going to offer that course in September. Still got to work out the timings and everything for it, but it will be John Paul Jackson teaching the course, but there'll be a group of us together, and I will have teacher's notes. So if there's any questions and things, hopefully the answers will be in there. So yeah, we shall see how that goes. I'm thinking at the minute, from the quick look that I've had, we'll probably be able to do the course in 2 Saturdays, rather than having to do sort of Friday nights and things. It's working out somewhere in the region of 16 hours of teaching. But I still need to sit down and work out all the timings and stuff and see if I can get it to fit. So that's something to look forward to. As I say, probably in the autumn we'll have everything organised and up and running for that. So just to let you, as friends of the Dream House, know, you get all the exciting information first. So that course will never have been taught in Scotland before, and currently it's only available online, so this is just a different way to get access to the course for people who want to do that. So that was quite nice, being able to do that. And the other thing since we talked is I did the first Holistic Ways festival that I've been to in Aberdeen on Saturday. It went really well. Gave away about 50 of the blessing cards to people. Everybody was really touched by the message that was on the back. So that was really good. They kept saying, "Are you sure this is for me?" I'm like, well, if that's the one that you picked, then yes, the message is for you. And they got to keep that. And then I did a talk, so it was a straight repeat of the one that I did in Glasgow. We had, it must have been about 25 people, I think, stayed for the talk. But the surprise, was it a surprise? No, I don't suppose it was a surprise. But the thing that they brought up when I went to the question and answer session is that they wanted to know about sleep paralysis. So that seems to be a big thing with people who go to these events. So I'm now trying to come up with a name or a title for something that we can offer. I mean, it's basically exorcism or deliverance, but I don't really want to call it that when I go to the fairs. So if you can get inspiration and come up with what we could refer to that as well. I did think about dream alignment, and I thought, no, that kind of gives the wrong impression, because that sounds a bit like you're coming into alignment or agreement with what's happening, and that's not what we want to do. So back to the drawing board and thinking in terms of that. But the next event phrase to say that we're offering dream interpretation and whatever the freedom from nightmares and things like that, we can call that. So that's a little bit just of where the Dream House is up to at the minute, and what we're hoping to do later on in the year. Okay, so changing tack slightly. What I asked each of you to do was to look at a dream that had come in from the Dream House. So I gave you all different dreams, and then send back the interpretations. So seeing as neither Rob nor Anne are on the call, but they did send back dreams, we'll deal with their stuff first. We'll see the dreams that they looked at, what they said about them, see if we agree or not, and see where it goes from there. So the first one I think I've got open here is the one that went to Rob. So let me just get that there, and I will share the screen so that you can see it as well. Which one do I want? That one. Share screen. Perhaps if you click the right button. Okay, can you see that? Yeah. Okay. You might want to unmute your phone, unmute your line. There's only the two of us here, so it's not too bad. Unless the cat's going to meow all the way through it.
I have the cat in the background and Kit's here, but Kit's being quiet.
Okay. So this dream, as you can see here, was sent in by, let me just scroll this up. It was a lady called Julie, and she had the dream in November 2017. So this is the dream. It says, my pastor handed me a gift wrapped in brown craft paper and said, I picked this up and thought you would like it. I opened it and it was a framed picture of an elephant lounging on its side. The picture had an ornate design around it in gold, and the elephant was wearing a gold headdress of chain with coins hanging from them. Looked like what you would find in India. I told him, I'm sorry I can't accept this, as I knew it had something to do with the Hindu religion. He seemed sincere in giving it to me, innocent even. I felt concerned and knew I could not bring it into my home. So that was the dream, and the only other bit of information we've got, she's saying the dream was in colour, and that the pastor Dean who appeared in the dream is actually her pastor. So, any thoughts on this?
First thing I'm thinking through is whether it is something that's in her, that there's no indication whether the concern is hers, but that's not a, as it were, valid concern, or whether the concern is a valid concern.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to see whether, there's anything that would point to it being either way.
Yeah. So let's start. Who or what is the focus of this dream then?
The picture.
Right. The dreamer has said that they were the centre of attention. Is that how the dream reads to us? So the pastor handed because she was the one that received the picture. She opened it. She was the one that said, I can't accept it. Yeah. So I think going on the principle that people are more important than things, and I think the dreamer plays a more significant role in this dream than the pastor does. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the dream's about the dreamer. Sub-focuses?
The pastor and the picture.
Yeah, I think that there's just the two. You could say picture of the elephant, just to broaden it out a wee bit, or you could have the elephant as an important detail. What about the headdress?
That's going to be an important detail of the picture.
Yeah, because that's the thing that ties the dreamer's point into the Hindu religion. Because if it didn't have the gold headdress and things, it would just be a picture of an elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what do we think? Is the dreamer themselves or somebody else?
Nothing to say that they're anything other than themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What about the pastor? Aha.
And the pastor seems to be the pastor. There was nothing of looked like my pastor but wasn't. The only other possibility is pastor being as God, which is what my first thought was when I was reading it.
Okay. So, if this was God, how does the dreamer's response fit with that?
Well, that's back to what I was saying, is to the two ways that it could go, of her either not being able to, choosing not to accept something that is from God, and that being, through it seeming like it is something else.
Yeah. Because if it was just that they said, I'm sorry, I can't accept this, and then didn't give the rest of the explanation there as to why, it could just be that they felt it was something that was too expensive or too big or whatever. But it's the way that they go on and then connect with that. And make it specifically it's something to do with Hinduism. But they don't know what. Right. Rob, are you there? I think you're Edra, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, no picture?
No picture. We just get a black box with EDRA in it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'll leave that for now. At least you can hear me.
Yeah. Okay, so this is, let me go back.
Oh.
Right, let me see if I can move this. Away. Right. So this is the response that Rob came. I think there's bits in here that we can look at and maybe agree with. There might be bits that we maybe want to change slightly.
Yeah.
So Rob wrote, Julie, this is an advisory dream to show her that she's not thinking through what was being offered to her or present in her circumstances. Her spiritual leader has specifically chosen her, has spent time on the presentation of the picture. The picture itself is resplendently framed. This is the pastor's compassionate brown gift to present her with an unmistakable picture which she perceives as lounging, though it may be interpreted by others as a picture of an elephant in need. Oh, okay. Now you've said they're needing a midwife, or maybe overburdened or wounded. So those are just, I take it that as just some suggestions that you're throwing out there, Rob.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Most likely in India. This is a dream to encourage her to see that those of other faiths should not be shunned because of that faith.
Yeah, it's not well expressed. I just think that she had an instinctive reaction and wasn't sort of interpreting what although it is a dream. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can see where you're coming from with that, because yeah, it was, I told him, I'm sorry, I can't accept this, as I knew it had something to do with the Hindu religion, but she's not sure exactly what. As you say, Rob, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Even though it was coming, so I'm just looking at this. Is she saying that her pastor's wrong? Is that the impression that we're getting? He seemed sincere in giving it to me, innocent even. I felt concerned and knew I could not bring it into my home.
Yes, she hasn't given it enough thought as to why he should be doing this.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my thought.
Yeah, it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction, isn't it?
That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You got any?
Certainly uninformed.
Yeah, yeah. Right, because Fiona was, I think, slightly before you joined the call, Rob. Fiona was wondering if the pastor could represent God.
Aye.
Now, if that was the case, and going on what you said about the elephant maybe being in need rather than sort of lounging on its side, as it's been described there, could this be a call for the dreamer to get involved in helping or evangelizing people that are Hindus?
Yeah, that's more or less what I was getting towards. Yeah.
Yeah. How does that sit with you, Fiona?
It doesn't quite, simply because there's no sort of implication of distress for the elephant at all.
They're big animals. They don't. Well, I suppose they do get about. They do have fun on their side. So yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. But I mean, is it when you think of pictures of elephants, they wouldn't normally be lounging on their side, would they?
Mm.
That's what I'm thinking is a bit unusual here.
Yeah, I just see lounging as a judgment.
Yeah, because she hasn't said it was lying on its side. Yeah. So I'm wondering, could this be a little bit of a self-conditioned dream in that almost along the same lines as Peter in the Book of Acts when he's at Simon the Tanner's house and the sheet comes down and it's all these unclean foods that the Jewish religion has, and then God is saying, these are clean. That was what came to my mind, especially when you get to the bit where her initial response is she's opened this present, and her first, I can't accept this. The thing that came to my mind was Peter going, I'm not going to eat anything that's unclean, Lord. So maybe there's a bit more of that we still need to unpack a little bit before I get to the actual thing. So do we think, is the elephant any more than a representative of India? Or do we think there might be another interpretation for that symbol?
India, but I am telling you something. Big. You can't ignore it. That's the standard, and you really got to take notice of this.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
I like to. Sorry.
No, carry on.
Have you tackled a bit about brown craft paper? The fact that this gift is so carefully put together and.
Yeah, I think you were right in that when you said that the brown represents compassion. That they've thought about it. Brown craft paper. It's not a fancy wrapping paper, but it's something that's functional.
It gets things there.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think the compassion bit would fit with that. And it's, as I say, it's functional. Fiona says it gets things there, a bit like brown wrapping paper kind of stuff. It's quite sturdy. It's not flimsy, like cheap Christmas wrapping paper that rips. It's quite substantial. I think from how she describes the picture, it would need to be something because the picture had an ornate design around it in gold. I'm just wondering if that's the picture itself or if that's the frame, the framed picture.
I took it as the frame.
Yeah. So we've got gold there, which should be purity or anointing, that kind of thing.
With the coins hanging its favour as well.
Who else wears sort of headdresses with coins hanging from it. I'm trying to think here. Was there not a parable
Aye.
about a lost coin or something, and it had come off of a headdress? Or am I making that up?
Well, there were the lost coins that rolled around the woman's house. Disappeared. I can't think of one from my headdress.
Well, it was one of a set, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There were several in that one.
So we've got that. I suppose the other people group that come to my mind when you think of headdresses with coins hanging from them is like gypsies.
Yeah.
You know, sort of fortune tellers sitting in their wee caravans, you know, the stereotypical kind of picture with their headdress and the wee coins put on there. Belly dancers, yeah, so sort of that kind of Middle Eastern rather than quite as far east as India. It's something. Yeah, I think it's part of it that she has jumped to the conclusion that it's something to do with the Hindu religion. I think I'll need to go and do a little bit more research and find out, are there headdresses with coins like that, something specific in Hinduism? Or is it something that she's doing? Sorry?
I'm finding very little. I've been trying to do a search on it just off the side of the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing very little.
Yeah.
You're right, Fiona. It's certainly the standard picture of parts of India, the way they dress and that faith. Yeah.
But there's nothing specific. So, okay, I'll need to go back and pray about that one. I think there are elements that we've got there already. It's just, you know, looking a little bit more at the dreamer's reaction. Is this is this a self-conditioned dream, in which case God is showing her that she's sort of knee-jerking and he's offering her something that she's rejecting? Or the complete opposite of that, it could be that her pastor is trying to introduce something to her that's actually coming from Hinduism rather than, so it's a bit in there that she's seeing that he's been deceived about something. Yeah, so it could be either or. What I might end up doing, that I've only done a couple of times in the past, is actually written out both interpretations and sent them to the dreamer and said, look, I've got these two, I've got no strong pull one way or the other. I think one of these will sit well with you. And leave it up to the dreamer to decide which is the right interpretation. Which is sometimes difficult if you're saying that one of the interpretations could possibly be self-conditioned, because they're very likely just to simply reject that one. But
interesting, she says he seemed sincere in giving it to him, innocent even.
Yeah.
So maybe she does.
That's why it could be, you know,
deceived. Yeah.
That he's been deceived or has taken in some kind of teaching into the church that she's recognizing it's not benign. It's actually come from Hinduism, and we shouldn't get involved in it. So there's the two there. But right now, I'm not getting a pull very strongly towards one or the other, which is of no help to this at all at the minute. But we'll see how it goes. Right, so the other dream that I wanted to have a look at tonight was one that Anne sent in. So let me stop sharing that. Oh, it's getting very dark here all of a sudden. Ooh. Well, let me see if I can find Anne's one. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Scrolling down looking for.
Here we go. Right. That one. Right. So this is the dream that Anne was working on. And she's going to watch this later. She wasn't able to join us today, but she's going to pick this up online later. So again, the dream was dreamt by a female. I'm just going to scroll this down a bit. And this one, we've actually got a title for the dream. The dreamers called it The Picnic. Now, the dream says, I dreamt that Patrick and I were at a park bench having a picnic. And Purity were also there. We were having a good relaxed time. At some point, Emma and Purity went away a few spaces, saying that they also needed to watch Sky TV. The most memorable aspect of the dream was Patrick's turquoise blue sweater that he had on the whole time. So Patrick is a guy that the dreamer likes, and Purity and Emma are her friends from church. And she's saying that the dream was in full colour and that it actually felt quite calm and peaceful. So we're not dealing with a nightmare here. Any immediate thoughts on this dream?
You've just got that combination of feeding.
Mm-hmm.
It feels, utterly positive around it.
Yeah.
Sky TV is interesting because you've got that combination of vision and upwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So something kind of sort of heavenly vision. That they can see into that. What about this turquoise blue sweater? That seems to be quite a strange colour, if you like, or quite specific colour.
Well, turquoise is often that combination of blue and green, so it
Mm-hmm.
could be a bit of both of them in it. But it's also the colour of the sea, so it could be underlining, sea and sight.
Yeah. What do we think about Patrick? Given that, what she said is that Patrick is a guy I met and liked. Do we think he represents himself, or could he be something else?
My gut was Jesus.
Sorry. I think you mean your gut reaction to Patrick was that he represented Jesus. Not that your gut literally was Jesus. That would bring us into a whole new sphere of interpretation, that would.
That is true.
Right, okay. So, yeah, I get the feeling that Patrick is not Patrick. Yeah, he could represent Jesus.
Why has he got the sweater on the whole time?
I don't know.
Is it hot? It's making a point.
Yeah, it is the way that she says it's the most memorable aspect was that he had it on the whole time. So it could represent the fact that this is whatever we decide that the turquoise blue represents. That's something that he wears the whole time, sort of like anointed with, or is an integral part of him. It's not something that, you know, he parts with. I
think it's nice that the girls went away and left her with Patrick.
Yeah. And I think there's parallels there because they say that they needed to watch Sky TV, which, you know, would represent heavenly vision or looking for vision or revelation coming from heaven. I think that ties in with the turquoise blue, so there's parallels there. Because what does green and blue, what are they representative of? Or symbolic of is probably a better word to use.
Blue, revelation, communion.
Green could be conscience or new beginnings. So it could, you know, if we went down the new beginning route, I don't think it's negative, so I don't think it's jealousy or anything like that. It would be a new start in terms of her revelation from God. And that would fit with the revelation coming from heavens. Right, let's see what Anne had written down. Right. Okay, so she's got, hello Edith, I think this dream was to alert you to what might happen if you develop a friendship or romantic relationship with Patrick. Some aspects of this relationship might seem enjoyable and harmless. However, Patrick's strong influence on you could result in you being less close to your Christian friends and in your spiritual life, i.e. your relationship with God being neglected. Let's go back to the dream. Right, I can see the first part of what she's got there, you know, the separation from her friends and things, but it was the friends that moved away.
Yes, they did.
I'm not quite sure. And I'm to think where that last bit, the separation from God, might come in.
The only thing that could make sense is if she's also seeing Emma and Purity having gone to, you know, look at the things of God and have that sort of heavenly vision.
Mm-hmm.
He's not gone with them. And she's not, you know, as it were, gone with the things from the church.
Uh-huh.
From the church, that she could be seeing a link there.
Yeah.
Rather than, you know, the dreamer is, you know, staying and having that experience with Jesus, and Emma and Purity are going and having their own experience.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I think this is another dream where there could potentially be two levels of interpretation. Because there's nothing in what she's written here to say where she met Patrick. I mean, did she meet Patrick in church, or did she meet him at work? Is he a Christian? Is he not? Now we're not really sure about that at this stage.
Can we get anything out of that thing above saying she was participating in the dream, but it was only part of what was going on? Is that?
Yeah, that's her take on where she was, and she's called it the picnic. So what I see is I'm looking at the dream is I see the four of them. So Patrick and Edith, Emma and Purity all sitting on a park bench at the beginning having this picnic. So I think that's maybe where she thinks that she was participating in the dream. But I think, yeah, she could be the focus. Or is Patrick the focus? I'm just wondering, because it's the way that she says the most memorable aspect of the dream was Patrick's turquoise blue sweater that he had on the whole time.
Yeah, and she also interpreted it as he being active in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she sees him as a focus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But Emma and Purity moved away. But she was still sitting on the park bench with Patrick. And Patrick was there with his turquoise blue jumper on that he never took off. But they were having a picnic.
Well, eating together.
So eating together, what would that be symbolic of?
Communion. Well, certainly body of Christ together, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. That could be communion, or it could be teaching, receiving food, but you're outside. So picnic is not a heavy meal. It's something quick that you have on the go. And you usually have a picnic with friends. It's usually a good time, but a relaxed time, unless you've got lots of wasps flying about. But they moved away. I think that they also. So who else was watching Sky TV? Because Emma and Purity went away a few spaces saying that they also needed to watch Sky TV. So is that is that they also needed to watch TV as well as eating, or other people were watching Sky TV and they needed to join them? Oh, some of the conundrums that you have when people send you in emails.
Maybe
and
all
they're not there to answer the questions. So yeah, so I can see where this is going. So if Patrick is representing himself, then yes, this dream is about, it could mean separation for Edith from her existing friends. So that is one possibility.
It's just that the whole dream feels like it's not that negative.
What does Patrick mean? Has anybody looked that up? I know he was an Irish saint and he cast out lots of snakes from Ireland.
Apostle.
Sorry, Rob, did you say something? I didn't catch that.
Apostle. Apostle.
Apostle, is that what it means?
No, but that's what he was.
Oh, that's what it was, right, okay. Yeah.
Very strong.
Nobleman, obedient.
Nobleman. Did you say nobleman?
All one word, nobleman. As
right.
in someone in the...
Nobleman that was obedient. So which nobleman do we know that was obedient? So yeah, I think if it's his name that's important, then it does seem that Patrick could represent Jesus. Which would tie in with why Emma and Purity are there. And they're all sharing some food, so they're all learning together and in a fun, relaxed environment. But it's almost like Emma and Purity then have moved away because they get distracted by, which way around is it? Do signs happen in the earth and wonders happen in the I think wonders happen in the heavens. So they get distracted by the wonders, whereas Edith is left sitting with Patrick, so she is spending more time specifically with Jesus rather than getting distracted by the signs and wonders side of things.
Marrying.
See, I wouldn't actually see Emma and Purity as necessarily distracted. I would just see it as they're looking at something that's valid as well as their time with Jesus. But, Edith's in a time, a season at the moment where her says that, I don't think there's a negative for Emma and Purity in it either.
Yeah. Okay. The most memorable aspect. But we still keep coming back to what does this blooming blue jumper mean? Turquoise blue sweater.
What are jumpers? I can't remember.
I think it's a variation of like coat and cloak. So your mantle. So yeah, so it's revelation, and so it's a new start. That's the only thing I can get for turquoise. Unless anybody else has got any revelation on the combination of blue and green there. Yeah, I think short dreams are harder.
Yes, not much to grab on.
Yeah, I thought I was trying to be nice and send you all sort of nice short dreams, and now I'm thinking maybe I should have sent you some of the great long screeds of ones that come in. It might have been easier. Yeah, so I think this is another one that I'm going to have to go away and ponder a little bit more. I think there is aspects of what Anne has said, and there's aspects of what else we're getting as well. It might be another one where I come down on the, okay, I'm going to send both options and see what the dreamer comes back with. But yeah, it's an interesting time at the Dream House. So the one that I sent you, Fiona, you came back and said that you got nothing on it.
Yeah.
Do you have any inkling as to why you think you got nothing on it?
Honestly, couldn't tell whether I was just not connecting with that one or I'm knackered.
Okay.
Or
did you sense anything in it that the dream that I sent you was maybe not a spiritual dream, so therefore there was no interpretation for it? I haven't looked at it, so I don't know the right answer. I'm just throwing it in as a possibility.
I would need to go and look at it, seeing it as a matter of
let me see if I can find it. Right. Okay, so this is the one that was a dream within a dream.
Mm.
So let's just quickly in the last few minutes. Oh, that's the wrong one. That's the one we just looked at. Sorry, Heather. Try that. Ah, what?
Ah,
What's going on here? Right, hang on. Let me close all of this and try again. Right, I will open that one. I will open the right one. Right, so there now is only one dream that's there. And let me try. So it must be that one. Where's it gone? Right. Okay, so hopefully you can see that now, yeah?
Yeah.
So this is a dream that was sent in by another female. I've had lots of females send dreams.
To it because that's just my email.
Yeah.
All right, I've scrolled right down to. So I've scrolled down on your email to where I can see the dream.
We
can't. You need to use the slide on it so we can see the dream, what you sent.
But that's what I did.
You've got the top of the message, unless you...
On my screen, I have scrolled right down and I can see the dream.
Well, if you scrolled up, we'd probably see it then. Weird.
If you go to the left and then just see if that, because it doesn't look like the slider's down to the bottom on this screen. So either there's, keep coming left and go up and up a bit more.
Very strange.
Yeah.
I'm not... Okay, maybe we're not supposed to do this dream.
Yeah,
that's very strange indeed. I have no idea why you can't see that. Very strange. Right, I'll just close it because there's no point in looking at it. Right, so we're nearly out of time. But how did you find that as an exercise this time, rather than simply just interpreting the dreams when we were on the call together, but actually having different ones to look at beforehand? Was that something you'd like to do again, or you've done it once and never want to try again?
I enjoy both. It's quite nice having a bit longer to look at a dream and a bit of time to ponder and poke things and bits and pieces. But I'm saying that as the one person who didn't manage to get an interpretation together from that one.
Right.
I know I enjoy, doing that, and it's quite a helpful process for me because when I'm doing dream interpretations, I like being able to go back to them several times and refine it and poke it. I also like some practice of, here's a dream, go.
Yeah.
So both.
Yeah. So what I might do for next time then is do a variation in that I'll send you all the same dream about a week before our next call and get you all to work on that, and then we'll compare the interpretations that come back. How would that sound to people?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Yeah, just for a little bit of variation, because I don't want this to get into a rut and always follow the same format and things. I'd much rather keep it at least a little bit interesting. Right, so time's up for this month. Thank you very much. What I will do is when I get round to sending the the interpretations off to the respective dreamers. If I get any feedback from them, good, bad or indifferent, then I'll share that with the group as well and let you know this is what I sent off and this is what the dreamer came back with. I don't always get feedback, but sometimes I do. So if I do get any feedback, I will let you know. So all that remains for me to say is have a very blessed Easter weekend. Rejoice in the fact that he is risen. Yeah, and celebrate. We can be very good at being, sort of all Monday, Thursday, and Good Friday solemn, but actually we only have that because of what happens on Sunday. So celebrate. I'm not going to say eat lots of chocolate, but just whatever you end up doing, do it with joy this weekend. And be blessed. And we'll talk to you soon.
Will do. Bless you too.
Bless you.
Bye.
Bye.